In the heart of South Africa lies the legendary Kruger National Park, a vast wilderness where the sun rises over endless savanna and ancient baobabs stand as silent witnesses to the passage of time. This is a land where the air is thick with the scent of wild grass, and the horizon stretches as far as the eye can see, promising adventure and mystery at every turn. Here, rivers like the Sabi and Crocodile breathe life into a world teeming with creatures. Most famously, the Big Five. These waterways are the veins of the park, drawing herds of elephants, buffalo and antelope to their banks, while crocodiles and hippos lurk just beneath the surface, completing the circle of life. Among them, one lion's name echoes with awe, NtwaDumela, the one who greets with fire. His reputation spread far beyond the park's borders, whispered by rangers and travelers alike. He was no ordinary lion, but a solitary king whose legend is whispered across the golden grasslands. NtwaDumela's story is woven into the very fabric of Kruger, a tale of courage, cunning and survival. NtwaDumela's mane was a striking blend of gold and black, a regal crown that set him apart. His amber eyes reflected the wild's wisdom, burning with an intensity that seemed to hold the secrets of the savannah. His powerful, deliberate stride commanded respect. His presence alone could silence the bush. Every movement was a display of strength and confidence, a reminder that he was the master of his domain. When he appeared, impalas froze, giraffes stood alert, and even elephants moved with caution. The entire landscape seemed to hold its breath, aware that a true king was near. He ruled alone, a monarch in a land where strength is everything. Without a pride to back him, NtwaDumela relied on his wits and raw power to survive and thrive. NtwaDumela's story is not just about survival, it's about thriving against all odds. He faced drought, rival lions, and the ever-present dangers of the wild, yet he endured, growing stronger with every challenge. He embodied the untamed spirit of Africa, a living symbol of the wild. His life was a testament to the raw beauty and relentless struggle that defined this land. His legend grew with every sunrise, every silent patrol, every challenge faced alone. Each day, he carved his story deeper into the memory of the bush, leaving tracks that would be remembered for generations. In Kruger, to see NtwaDumela was to witness the raw power and majesty of the continent itself. For those lucky enough to catch a glimpse, it was an encounter they would never forget. His reign changed the very atmosphere of the bush. The animals moved differently, the air felt charged, and the land itself seemed to acknowledge his rule. He was the undisputed ruler, a solitary force in a world of fierce competition. Other lions kept their distance, knowing that to challenge him was to risk everything. This is the story of a lion who became a legend, a king whose spirit still roams the savannah, inspiring awe in all who hear his name. Every king has an origin, a moment when the world first takes notice of his presence. And NtwaDumela's was shrouded in mystery, his early days hidden in the long shadows of the savannah. Like all young males, he was eventually forced from his pride, driven by instinct and necessity, to find his own path in a world that offered no guarantees. Most lions in his position formed coalitions for survival, banding together for strength and security. But NtwaDumela chose solitude. Whether by fate, fierce independence, or a stubborn will, he faced the wild alone, forging his own way through the unforgiving landscape. He claimed a prime territory near the Sabi and Sand rivers, land coveted by powerful coalitions and seasoned rivals, a place where only the boldest dared to tread. For a lone male, this was almost unthinkable, a challenge that would have broken most. Yet, NtwaDumela's strength, intelligence, and relentless will set him apart from all others, making him a force to be reckoned with. He marked his borders with thunderous roars and scent, warning rivals to stay away, declaring his claim with every step. His presence alone was enough to command respect, and even the bravest challengers thought twice before crossing his path. Without allies or brothers at his side, he became the undisputed king of a vast domain, ruling with a quiet authority. His reign began not with a single battle but with quiet, unyielding determination, a steady resolve that would not be shaken. NtwaDumela's solitary rule was a feat few lions have ever achieved, a testament to his unique spirit and courage. He thrived where others would have fallen, forging his own destiny in a world that offered no second chances. His legend was born from courage, strategy, and the will to stand alone, inspiring awe in all who witnessed his rise. In the wild, he became a king by his own hand, a solitary ruler whose story would echo across the plains for generations. NtwaDumela's kingdom was a mosaic of riverine forests, open plains and rocky koppies. The land offered everything: a perfect hunting ground, vantage points and shelter. Each morning he patrolled his borders, leaving his mark and warning all challengers. Lionesses in the area recognized his dominance, accepting him as protector. Unlike coalitions, NtwaDumela had no one to share the burden. He was always vigilant, resting only in brief, wary naps. Every inch of his territory was known to him, every trail, waterhole, and hiding place. His intimate knowledge gave him an edge over rivals. Despite the constant threat, he held his land for years. His reign was a testament to strength, strategy, and resilience. NtwaDumela became part of the landscape itself, a living legend. His solitary rule defied the odds and inspired awe. In Kruger, his story became the stuff of legend. For a male lion, solitude is perilous. Strength usually lies in numbers. Coalitions fight together, but NtwaDumela stood alone against all threats. He survived where most lone males would perish, thanks to intelligence and strategy. He knew when to fight and when to avoid conflict, using the land to his advantage. Intimidation and psychological warfare became his tools. His stamina and relentless patrols made rivals believe he was everywhere at once. NtwaDumela outworked and outwitted his competition. Injury could mean death for a lone lion, so he hunted with precision and caution. He avoided unnecessary risks, always calculating his moves. His careful approach kept him safe for years. NtwaDumela's survival was a masterclass in adaptation and cunning. He proved that intelligence could rival brute force. Alone he became a legend in a world built for coalitions. Hunting is usually a team effort for lions, but NtwaDumela was a master of the solo hunt. He took down formidable prey, buffalo and giraffe, alone, feats that stunned even seasoned rangers. Using stealth and patience, he stalked his targets for hours, waiting for the perfect moment. His attacks were explosive, aiming for the neck or spine to bring down massive beasts quickly. For giraffes, he developed a daring strategy, leaping onto their backs to unbalance them. Witnesses described his hunts as battles of titans, showcasing his courage and skill. Yet, he was pragmatic, scavenging when needed, and hunting smaller prey to conserve energy. He adapted to every challenge, never wasting strength on unnecessary risks. His survival depended on versatility and intelligence. NtwaDumela was the ultimate pragmatist, doing whatever it took to maintain his rule. His hunting prowess became legendary across Kruger. He embodied the spirit of a true survivor. Alone, he redefined what a lion could achieve. A lion's roar is more than a sound, it's a declaration of power. NtwaDumela's roar was legendary, deeper and more commanding than any other. When he roared from the koppies at dusk, the bush fell silent. His call traveled for kilometers, warning rivals and reassuring those under his protection. By roaring from different locations, he created the illusion of constant patrol. Rivals believed his territory was impenetrable, sometimes thinking more than one lion defended it. His roar was psychological warfare, deterring challengers without a fight. For lionesses and cubs, it was a promise of safety. His voice maintained order and stability in his kingdom. NtwaDumela's roar became the soul of the savannah. It was the sound of a king holding his world together. To hear it was to feel the wild's heartbeat. His roar will echo in Kruger's memory forever. NtwaDumela's legend grew through stories told by rangers and visitors alike, echoing through the vast grasslands and dense thickets of the Kruger. Around flickering campfires, his name was spoken with a mix of awe and reverence, each tale adding new layers to his myth. Rangers spoke of his fearless confrontations, like facing down a clan of 20 hyenas to defend his kill. They described the tension in the air, the way NtwaDumela stood his ground, unyielding even as the odds stacked against him. Tourists described unforgettable encounters, witnessing his calm authority up close. For many, seeing NtwaDumela was the highlight of their journey, a rare privilege that would be retold for years to come. One family watched him stroll past their car, scars and power on full display, a moment of wild royalty. The children pressed their faces to the glass, mesmerized by his presence, while parents whispered in hushed tones, knowing they were witnessing something extraordinary. Another tale tells of a standoff with a bull elephant. NtwaDumela's quiet confidence persuaded the giant to move aside. Even the largest creatures seemed to respect his unspoken authority, sensing the spirit of a true king. These stories, passed from ranger to tourist, built his myth. Each retelling added new details, painting a portrait of a lion who was more than just a predator. He was a legend in his own time. He became more than an animal. He was a character in Kruger's grand narrative, woven into the very fabric of the Bushveld's history. His presence left a lasting impression on all who saw him. People returned home with stories that sparked the imaginations of friends and family, spreading his legend far beyond the park's borders. He was the star of the Sabi Sands, his fame growing with every sighting. Photographers and filmmakers sought him out, hoping to capture a glimpse of his majesty. Each tale of bravery and intelligence cemented his place in history, ensuring that his story would be told for generations. NtwaDumela became a symbol of the wild's majesty, embodying the untamed spirit of Africa's greatest wilderness. His legend inspired awe and respect across generations, uniting people from all walks of life in admiration for the king of the Bushveld. In the Bushveld, his story will never fade. As long as the lions roam and the sun rises over Kruger, NtwaDumela's legend will live on, whispered by the wind and remembered by all who love the wild. Even the greatest kings must face the end. As NtwaDumela aged, his mane grayed and his strength waned. Younger lions sensed his decline and began to challenge his rule. The battles grew fiercer, recovery slower. Eventually, a powerful coalition, the Majingalane, mounted a final challenge. NtwaDumela fought with all the courage that defined his life, but the odds were overwhelming. Defeated, he was driven from his kingdom, becoming a nomad once more. This is the wild's way. The old make way for the new. He wandered the edges of his former realm, a solitary figure in twilight. Though his reign ended, his legend endured. His story became immortal, told around campfires and in hushed tones. NtwaDumela's spirit remained woven into the land he once ruled. The fall of a king, but the rise of a legend. In Kruger, his memory lives on. NtwaDumela's legacy is as enduring as his legendary roar. He became a symbol of strength, independence, and the will to survive. His story reminds us of the wild's harsh realities and the heights one lion can reach. By ruling alone, he redefined what was possible for his kind. His fame brought attention to lion conservation and the importance of wild places. He's remembered as a true king, earning his crown through power and spirit. His legend inspires awe, respect, and a deeper love for wildlife. Though gone, his spirit lingers in the land he ruled. When the sun sets and a roar echoes, people remember the lone king who greeted his enemies with fire. NtwaDumela's story will live on, forever part of the Kruger's wild heart. For the legendary lion of Kruger, his name was NtwaDumela, he who greets with war. This was not just a label, but a declaration, a mantle that set him apart from the moment he first opened his eyes to the golden light of the savannah. This was not a name given lightly, it was spoken with reverence by the elders who understood the weight of such a title. In their eyes, a name could summon the spirit of ancestors or call forth the courage needed to survive in a land where only the strong endure. It was a prophecy, a challenge, and a warning. To bear the name NtwaDumela was to accept a life of struggle and triumph, to be forever marked as a force to be reckoned with. His gaze alone seemed to carry the promise of battle, and his presence sent ripples through the grasslands. NtwaDumela's name became a banner, whispered with awe and fear by all who knew the bush. The animals of the veldt learned to recognize his scent, the distant thunder of his roar, and the shadow he cast across the land. Even the wind seemed to carry his legend from one end of Kruger to the other. In Swana, Ntwa means war. Dumela means to greet. His very presence was a challenge. The name itself was a riddle, a paradox. To greet with war is to announce oneself not with peace but with power, to stride into the world ready to defend, to conquer, to survive. Every time his name was spoken, it conjured images of raw power and unyielding will. It was as if the syllables themselves carried the thunder of his footsteps, the fire of his spirit, and the relentless drive that made him a legend among lions. In African tradition, a name shapes character. It is a guide, a compass, and a challenge to live up to. The act of naming is sacred, a moment when the hopes of a family and the wisdom of ancestors are bestowed upon the young. For NtwaDumela, it was his blueprint. From his earliest days he was watched closely, his every move measured against the promise of his name. Would he rise to the challenge, or would the weight of expectation prove too great? As a cub, he already showed signs of the warrior within, bold, unafraid, and fiercely independent. He learned quickly that survival in the Bushveld demanded more than strength. It required cunning, resilience, and the heart of a fighter. He was born to fight, to test his limits against the world and against his own kin. Every playful tussle was a lesson, every challenge a step toward the destiny his name foretold. To seize a throne through force, not inheritance, was the path laid before him. In the wild, nothing is given, everything must be earned, and NtwaDumela was determined to carve his own legend with tooth and claw. His legacy is inseparable from his name, a testament to the spirit of the wildest soul in Kruger. The land remembers those who shape it, and NtwaDumela's story is written in every scar, every roar, every dawn that breaks over the bushveld. With NtwaDumela, it felt as if the land itself had named him, foreseeing his path. The rocks, the trees, the rivers, they all seemed to whisper his name, as if nature itself had chosen him to be its champion. He was the lion who greeted the world with war, and the world listened. In the end, his name became more than a legend, it became a living force, echoing through the bushveld, forever a part of Africa's untamed heart. NtwaDumela's name was his reality. He lived on the offensive. In the vast, unforgiving wilderness where every day is a test of strength and will, he was a lion who refused to blend into the background. From the moment he set paw on the savannah, NtwaDumela was a force to be reckoned with, a living legend whose reputation spread far beyond his territory. His very presence sent ripples through the grasslands, a warning to all who dared to challenge him. While most male lions avoid conflict, he sought it, expanding his territory by confronting rivals. NtwaDumela was not content to simply defend what he had. He was always looking for the next challenge, the next boundary to push. He would stride boldly into the heart of enemy territory, his eyes fixed on the horizon, daring any lion to stand in his way. Each confrontation was a calculated risk, but for NtwaDumela, the thrill of battle was as essential as the air he breathed. His roar was a challenge, a declaration that he ruled here. It echoed across the plains, a thunderous proclamation that left no room for doubt. Other lions would pause, their ears twitching as the sound rolled over the land like a storm. NtwaDumela's roar was more than noise, it was a message, a line drawn in the sand. He marched into the domains of coalitions, scattering them with sheer audacity. Where others saw danger, he saw opportunity. NtwaDumela's courage was infectious, and his enemies often broke ranks before a fight even began. His boldness was legendary, and his willingness to face multiple opponents at once set him apart from every other lion in the region. NtwaDumela understood that battles are won in the mind. He was a master of psychological warfare. He knew that fear could be as powerful as tooth and claw. With a single look, he could unnerve even the most seasoned rivals, making them question their own strength and resolve. His posture, gaze, and growl were weapons as sharp as his claws. Every movement was deliberate, every gesture a display of dominance. He would stand tall, muscles rippling beneath his golden coat, his eyes locked onto his adversaries. Even his growl, low and menacing, was enough to send shivers down the spines of those who heard it. As a solitary male, he could never show weakness. His strategy was relentless offense. In a world where alliances meant survival, NtwaDumela chose to walk alone, relying on his own strength and cunning. He knew that a single misstep could mean the end, so he pressed forward, never giving his enemies a chance to regroup or retaliate. He started fights, patrolled borders, and made his presence impossible to ignore. Day and night he marked his territory with scent and sound, leaving no doubt about who ruled these lands. His patrols were relentless, his vigilance unmatched. Every roar, every mark, every stride was a statement of intent. He reigned as a king without a coalition, his kingdom held by force of personality. Other lions gathered in groups for safety, but NtwaDumela's charisma and ferocity made him a ruler in his own right. He sat atop the highest rises, surveying his domain with a regal air, a solitary monarch whose authority was never questioned. Even hyenas learned to fear him. He chased them from kills, asserting his dominance. Where most lions would back down from a pack of snarling scavengers, NtwaDumela charged headlong, scattering them with a single swipe. His reputation grew with every victory, and soon even the most brazen hyenas thought twice before crossing his path. Every action reinforced his title, he who declares war. NtwaDumela was more than a lion, he was a living embodiment of defiance and power. In every roar, every stride, and every battle he made it clear, this was his realm, and he would defend it against all odds. His legend endures, echoing across the savannah with every sunrise. NtwaDumela's true power was psychological. While his physical strength was undeniable, it was his mind that truly set him apart from other lions. In the wild, dominance is not just about brute force, it's about perception, confidence, and the ability to influence others without ever needing to bare your teeth. Most lone males are cautious, moving through the savanna with a sense of uncertainty, always watching their backs. But NtwaDumela saw himself as a king, not an outcast. He carried himself with a regal air, as if the land itself belonged to him, and every creature in it was aware of his presence. His mental fortitude projected an aura of power far beyond his solitary status. Even when he stood alone, he seemed larger than life, his confidence radiating like heat from the sun. Other lions sensed this, and it made them hesitate. He walked with purpose, his gaze calm and calculating. Every step was measured, every movement deliberate, as if he was always several moves ahead in a game only he understood. Often rivals surrendered without a fight, convinced of his invincibility. They read the certainty in his eyes and the unwavering set of his jaw, and they knew that challenging him would come at a steep cost. This edge was forged by hardship. He depended only on himself. Every scar on his body was a lesson learned, a memory of battles survived. Isolation had made him resilient, sharpening his instincts and teaching him to trust his own judgment above all else. Intimidation was his tool. He read opponents and struck with psychological pressure. He could sense fear, uncertainty, and hesitation in others, and he used it to his advantage, often winning battles before they even began. He was a master of brinkmanship, forcing others to back down. By pushing his rivals to the edge, he made them question their own strength and resolve, often causing them to retreat without a single blow exchanged. His constant readiness defined his reign. He held territory against all odds. Day and night he patrolled his borders, marking his presence and making it clear that any trespasser would face a formidable opponent. His aggression was strategic, not mindless. Every action was calculated, every confrontation weighed for risk and reward. He knew when to attack, when to hold back, and when to simply let his reputation do the work. Even at rest, he radiated coiled energy, always ready for action. His body might be still, but his mind was always alert, scanning for threats and opportunities alike. NtwaDumela was a strategist, ruling through fear and respect. His leadership was not just about dominance but about understanding the minds of those around him, both allies and enemies. His mind was as formidable as his claws. In the end, it was his psychological mastery that made him a legend, a lion whose legacy was built not just on strength but on the power of the mind. To understand NtwaDumela, picture a lion built for war. He was immense, broad-shouldered, deep-chested, muscles rippling beneath his tawny coat. His stride was both graceful and intimidating, the walk of an apex predator. His face bore scars from countless battles, a prominent one slashing across his muzzle. But his eyes, deep amber, piercing, intelligent, were his most striking feature. His mane was thick and dark, a sign of strength and virility, making him appear even larger. This mane framed his scarred face, amplifying his presence. He was the archetype of wild power, sculpted by Africa itself. His sheer presence deterred challengers before a fight began. NtwaDumela was a living monument to strength and survival. For most lions, solitude is a hardship. For NtwaDumela, it was a strategy. Alone, he was free. No need to share food or compromise. His movements were unpredictable, his territory fluid, keeping rivals off balance. This nomadic kingship let him exploit resources over a vast area. Living alone honed his skills. He hunted large prey solo, a feat few lions achieve. He was his own lookout, defender, and strategist. Every sense was sharpened by constant vigilance. His independence was the source of his confidence and aura. NtwaDumela defied lion society's rules, proving one could thrive alone. He chose the path of the lone warrior, achieving legendary status. His story redefines what it means to rule in the wild. Despite his size, NtwaDumela was elusive, the ghost of Kruger. He avoided humans, melting into the bush at the first sign of a vehicle. This was not a lion habituated to people, he was truly wild. His skill at evasion was key to his survival, operating under the radar. Rangers found his tracks and heard his roar but rarely saw him. He seemed to sense human presence, vanishing before he could be spotted. Unlike famous lions comfortable with cameras, his fame was built on absence. NtwaDumela was a symbol of the untamed, ruling in silence and solitude. NtwaDumela didn't just live in his ecosystem, he shaped it. As a solitary skilled hunter, he regulated prey populations, targeting the weak. His kills fed scavengers, supporting the food web. His presence created a landscape of fear, altering herbivore behavior and vegetation. He suppressed hyena numbers, benefiting smaller carnivores. As dominant male, he bred with local prides, passing on his powerful genes. His solitary visits left a lasting genetic legacy. NtwaDumela was a keystone figure. His reign dictated the dynamics of his world. From buffalo herds to scavengers, his influence was everywhere. He was an ecological force, sculpting the landscape and its lives. NtwaDumela's story is an allegory for Africa's wild spirit. He was a symbol of raw freedom, living by nature's ancient laws. His refusal to habituate to humans was a statement of independence. He embodied the resilience of Africa, facing rivals, hunting alone, enduring harsh seasons. His scars and strength were proof of survival against all odds. He was the spirit of Africa personified, tough, proud, unconquerable. His legend reminds us that true wildness still exists, beyond our control. To remember NtwaDumela is to remember what's at stake, the essence of wildness itself. NtwaDumela's legend lives on in whispers and stories. His offspring may still roam, bearing his dark mane and fearless spirit. Unlike other famous lions, his solitude was a lifelong strategy, not a phase. He reigned as a solitary king, setting him apart in lion lore. His life asks, is true strength found in numbers or in fearless solitude? NtwaDumela proved that one lion with enough will can be an army of one. His story is a call to seek out the untold legends of the wild, where courage and